When you find yourself in a situation where you need to sell your home quickly, you can't afford to fix it up, and you want it off your hands right now, then you're going to want to reach out to Homevestors. Eileen talked to the owner and some of the clients to find out why they're the ones to call. Check it out.
Well, you recognize their billboards, We Buy Ugly Houses. In fact, they're called the We Buy Ugly Houses people. Their company's called Homevestors, and joining me is Tony Lott, one of the owners here. Good morning.
Hi.
Good to have you here. We're about to talk to a client of yours who used your services more than once, correct?
They did.
Yes, and so Mr. and Mrs. Sims, but tell me first of all about Homevestors.
Well, we're a company that primarily buys houses. Usually they need repairs. You know, it's definitely something that is always a common denominator with people that call us. Maybe their situations are different, but repairs is always the mainstay. They have a house they just don't have the time to fix or the money, something like that.
And if they need a home that just needs either repairs or they just need to sell it right away, you're the people to go to.
Absolutely.
Yes, and Mr. and Mrs. Sims, tell us about their story.
Well, you know, we had met them about 12 years ago now, and they had a house that had been a rental property for them. And they needed a lot of work. The tenants had torn it up, and they called us, and the transaction went smoothly. And we've kept touch with them, you know, ever since then. And then they recently had a health crisis show up. And so when that happened, they thought of us first and called us to sell their personal home to us.
Yes, just a little bit of a fixer-upper. They needed some foundation work.
Yeah, it was mainly foundation. It was a pretty new house, really, just a few years old. But it needed some repairs in the foundation, and it needed a little bit of updating. So it was minor things.
I think that I'd seen a billboard advertising the We Buy Ugly House people, and I had a rental home that had some issues. I'd sold it and had to repossess it, and the guy had just trashed the house, and I didn't want to have to deal with it. So I called several people that were in the business of buying ugly houses and decided on Homevestors as being the best people to do business with, and that was 10 or 12 years ago. Recently I have COPD, and then I was diagnosed with lung cancer, and my home needed some repairs and updating and whatnot in order to be sold. And I didn't feel with my health issues, and I just got married to Sharon. I didn't want to deal with it, so I called We Buy Ugly Houses, Homevestors people again, and was able to strike a pretty fair deal that I think suited everybody's purpose.
We didn't have the time nor the energy to call contractors in and redo the house, and we're living there at the same time. It was not going to work. The We Buy Ugly Houses people came in and bought the house. We rented a house, fortunately in the same neighborhood, and moved within a week. It was easy. It was amazing.
I did want my home to be done properly and whatnot, and I felt confident that Homevestors was the company to, you know, to treat the house properly and put a good product on the market.
So Tony, if anyone out there has any questions about Homevestors, the We Buy Ugly Houses people, tell us how we can get a hold of you.
Well, they could call our number. It's a 1-800-44-BUYER, or they can look at our website, and it's WeBuyUglyHouses.com.
All right, thank you so much. Great information.
Thank you.